Hey everybody, welcome back to In Bed with the Millennial. I'm the Millennial Javeda Bay, and this is my bed, and it's our last Monday of April, which means it's our last Monday of STI Awareness Month. And so I want to talk about how, like, the fact that if you were to contract a manageable STI, your sex life is not over, because it's commonly thought like, oh my God, I got herpes or I got HIV and I'm never going to be able to have sex again. That's not true. So let's dig into that. So the manageable STIs are hepatitis B, HSV, also known as herpes, HPV, the human papillomavirus, and HIV. I'm really just going to focus on herpes and HIV because those are the most common ones that people think like, oh my God, I'm never going to have sex again because I have these. And that's not the case. So with herpes or HSV, again, 50 to 80% of the U.S. adult population has a strain of HSV, whether they have it as cold sores through oral herpes or genital herpes. Most people have it. It's just that not everyone has an outbreak that lets them know that they have HSV, which is why blood tests are not regularly done to test for HSV. But that's another conversation. But if you were to contract herpes, it doesn't mean that you can never have sex again. It just means that you have to adjust a little bit. So one, going to your doctor and getting medication. There are some medications that you can take daily to truly make sure you don't have an outbreak, or medications that you just take when you feel an outbreak coming on. And so the biggest change that's going to come with that is actually getting to know your body and recognizing the signs. So most people that have, especially genital herpes, have an idea of when an outbreak is going to come on because their body starts to feel a little bit different. And so if you start to recognize this in your body, you know, like, oh, I probably have an outbreak coming on. One, I should take my meds, but two, probably shouldn't engage in any sexual activity with others right now, because before an outbreak is actually when you are shedding, which means that is when it is actually transmissible to another person. So you would take a break. You just wouldn't engage in sexual activity with others during that time. Doesn't mean you can't have sex after it's passed, but in that moment, I would not recommend, especially even with barrier methods, just because shedding is obviously, like, you can't see it. Like, you don't know that it's like actively happening right now. So why risk it if you're not, because you can't say that the barrier method you're choosing is going to be absolutely perfect. So definitely paying attention to your body is important. Taking the medications, whether it is an everyday one or just like a before an outbreak happens one. Taking your meds, extremely important. And if you are worried about the transmission of HSV, using barrier methods is a great way. So using Laurel's latex underwear, using dental dams if that's what you like, using internal, external condoms, all great options. But yeah. Not the end of your life not the end of your sex life if you have herpes. For HIV, there's a lot more options in terms of managing it, so that way it doesn't destroy your sex life. So once you are actually diagnosed with HIV, you're usually put on medication. So actively taking your medication is important, because most medications, or not most, but like there are medications that can make it so that way your HIV is undetectable, which means that it's actually not transmissible when it's undetectable. So that can give you some peace of mind right there. Also, if you're just generally worried about contracting HIV, there's medication. Obviously, you have PrEP, which is pre-exposure prophylactics. And this means you can take it before you engage in sexual activity that may have the potential of HIV transmission. And then you have PEP, which is post-exposure prophylactics, which is taken after you do have sexual activity that has HIV, where HIV is present. So those are your two options. And actually PrEP comes as a shot now. So you actually have an option that is not just taking a pill every day, because trust me, I know how hard that is. I have ADHD. I'm terrible at taking my meds every day. So yeah, you want to actually make sure that you are taking those meds. And then once you get to a point of being undetectable, you really have peace of mind. But again, barrier methods are a great thing to use and keep on hand if you are wanting to minimize the transmission of HIV or any STIs, but still engage in your sex life. It's truly not the end of the world. Honestly, I think the hardest part about contracting a manageable STI is having the conversation with current or potential future partners, because, STIs hold a lot of stigma and shame. So that's probably going to be the biggest hurdle to overcome, but it's doable. It's manageable. And you can go back to last week's video, no, the week before that, where we talk about how to talk about STIs. But yeah, make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel because next month is my favorite month. Masturbation May. And definitely make sure you follow me on all the different social media platforms that I'm on, and make sure you subscribe to my email newsletter, because if I get booted off of any of those, especially because there's a high risk during Masturbation May because I talk about masturbation so much, then we're still in contact with each other. But yeah, that's that. I will see y'all later. Deuces.